What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Taurus sun sign friends. If you were born between the dates of April 20th and May 20th, then you are a Taurus sun sign, and this video is for you. Today we're going to be doing what I like to call the Halloween or Samhain spread. Halloween or Samhain is a time of, the end of the harvest signals. It's the time where the veil is thinned and the line that between the third dimension and the fourth and higher dimensions is kind of blurred a little bit, and it's just a great time to interact with the higher realms and improve our lives. And that's what this spread is designed to do. It's going to tell you what to embrace and what to let go of at this time of Halloween or Samhain, what courage you have and what fears you have surrounding you, as well as what you should celebrate and what you should contemplate at this time. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be eye-opening. Let's get into it. We're going to be using the Druicraft Tarot deck today. This is a perfect deck. It's based in Druidry and Wicca, and Samhain is a Wicca holiday, or Wiccan holiday, and I thought it would be perfect. Hey, that reminds me, let me introduce you to my crystal friends. I've got 3 crystals here with me. I've got my sodalite sphere, which I keep with me for every reading. I've also got my sunstone sphere to bring some vitality and energy to this reading. But most importantly, I've got my indigo gabbro here, and it's also known as mystic merlinite. And this is a crystal that helps bridge the gap between the third dimension, which we find ourselves in, and the fourth dimension and higher. So I thought it would be perfect to help bring down information from the higher realms, and perfect for this time of year. So that's why we got these crystal friends. So if you would give me a moment to center myself and ask the tarot cards a question: what are the energies surrounding Taurus sun signs at the time of Halloween or Samhain? Alright, that should do it. Cut the deck. And we're going to deal out 6 cards. Perfect. And while we're at it, we're going to consult the Druid Animal Oracle deck to see what it has to say, what message it has for Taurus sun signs at this time of Halloween or Samhain, depending on which you celebrate. What message for Taurus sun signs at this time of Halloween or Samhain? Alright, so before we get into it, let me just tell you guys that this spread is split up in 2. This top half here represents the positive side or the light side, and this bottom half here represents the dark side or the negative shadow side. So keep that in mind as we do this reading. We'll look at these cards individually, see what they have to say. The first card here represents life, and it's what you should embrace at this time. And we've got Cernunnos, which is the devil card. It's a little bit of a tamer devil card. Cernunnos is more of a deity of sexuality and nature, rather than the Christian devil who's more of a demon. Okay, so give me a moment to go into this card. Okay, the feeling I'm getting from this card, Taurus friends, is at this time is that you should embrace the connections that you have with other people, even if they're not to your advantage. That's a very strange way to say that. I don't really mean it like that, but I think there's positives and negatives to every relationship or any connection that we make. I think every connection we make is neutral, and there are positives and there are negatives, and whichever you perceive more is the reality. So thereby we're creating our own positives and negatives in our own lives based on our perceptions. And I get the feeling what you need to hold on to is the ability to look at these connections we make with a less skewed perception. Really look at the connections we make with what's the word I'm looking for? Non-objectivity? Is that what I'm trying to say? I think that's what I'm trying to say. So often we might see a relationship in our lives. This could be with a person or with a job or with a hobby. Doesn't matter. We have this relationship in our lives, and we might look at it as a positive thing. But a lot of times we're deluding ourselves, and we're not really looking at the negatives and being honest with ourselves. At the same time, we might see this thing in our lives that's negative, but we're not really focused on the positive, so we don't really see it, and we can't see the positives. So this card is asking you to be very clear and very honest with the connections and the relationships that you've created in your life, so that you can get a more honest opinion. And once you kind of take out the ego, take out your perceptions a little bit, and kind of rise above those and see those from a higher vantage point, once you do that, you can start to see what the relationship really is and if it's beneficial to you or not, without the delusion. So this card basically, in a nutshell, to say it quickly, is try to get rid of the delusions in your life and see things for what they are, is basically what I'm saying. That's what you should hold on to at this time of Halloween or of Samhain. Alright, now we're going to move on to the Death card, and this card represents what to let go of at this time of Halloween or of Samhain. We've got the Nine of Swords. Worry, stress, and fear. I get the feeling that there's a lot of it going on with you Taurus friends at this time. I do want to state that this is a general reading. Not everything's going to apply to everybody, so take what works for you. But the feeling I'm getting from this card is that there's kind of a lot of anxiety, maybe thoughts or fears of the future that are kind of getting in your way, and they're kind of halting your present moment. What I mean by that is, any anxiety you have, any worry or doubts generally come from a fear of the future, of uncertainty, a fear of not knowing what's going to happen, fear of not having control. And basically all that is an unwillingness to just live in the now, in the present. And when you're living in the future like that, then you have just wasted your present moment, because the present moment is all we've got. And if you waste that, then you've got nothing. You just squandered your opportunity to truly create. It's a weird catch-22. If you're thinking about the future and worried about how the future is going to go, then you can't make the present moment the best it possibly can. Therefore, you can't make your future better. And so the more you stress and worry about the future, the more stress and worry is going to be your future reality. The only thing you can really do is focus on the now, and that means living in the moment. That means appreciating everything you have. That means making the present moment the best you possibly can. Living in the present moment with happiness and gratitude, and not worrying about the future. You have no control over it except to control the present moment. And that's what you need to realize this Halloween or Samhain. You need to focus on getting rid of those negative ego thoughts, those fears, those doubts, those worries, because they're unfounded. They're the ego just running out of control unchecked, and it's not serving you in any way. And anything you can do to minimize or even remove those completely is going to improve your life in so many different ways. Oh my goodness, Taurus friends. So that's what to let go of. I know that was a mouthful, but that's what this card is telling me to you to let go of this Halloween or Samhain. So get rid of those negative thoughts. They're not serving you. This card here represents your courage. We're going to go to some positivity, and we've got another major arcana. Your courage is represented by the Lovers. Give me a moment. I get the feeling that you guys are courageous in making those connections. We talked about the connections that you have and how you can look at them with more objectivity. But your courage is in making those connections and keeping those connections close. A lot of us have, anxiety of, social situations, and we're not good at making personal relationships, or if we do make personal relationships, they don't necessarily last. But I get the feeling here that your courage is you are willing to do everything you can for your loving relationships to make them work. you will go to the ends of the world to make sure you don't lose those relationships, and that's very important. And not only that, but you form these relationships, and that's very courageous as well to be open to connecting with another person. That is a beautiful thing, and it's something that does take a lot of courage to open yourself up and be vulnerable, and that's something that you guys do well, and you're very courageous in that respect. And I would highly encourage you guys to keep that up, keep doing it, keep forging those connections, keep appreciating those connections, those relationships that you create. You're doing a great job of it so far, and keep that up, okay? So that's where your courage lies. Now we're going to go on over to the fears, and what fears are surrounding you at this time of Halloween or Samhain. We've got the Princess of Pentacles, also known as the Page of Pentacles. Give me a moment with this card. So, you guys are an earth-type energy, or Taurus friends, and getting a very earth-type energy here, but I'm getting some immaturity. Definitely some fear of not knowing how things are going, not knowing where things are going, fear of not having control, just like we discussed with Sir Nunos. And I think the fear here is just being feeling kind of lost as far as this physical earth realm goes, as far as making money, as far as a career or a job, and just not having the certainty that you would like. And I think that is a fear, is not being certain and not knowing where your money is going to come from next year, right? Or not knowing how your bank account's going to look like in 6 months, that sort of thing. When I say pentacle energy, I mean anything that has to do with physicality. And it's not just money. It could have to do with your living situation. It could have to do with your transportation situation. It could have to do with your diet and your health. Anything that really connects you to this earth. And this is a general overall reading, so figure out how this applies to you, how you are kind of fearing not having control, or fearing not knowing the way things are going to go. And so yes, I'm getting a lot of future fears here. Fears of the future is definitely coming up for me, for Taurus at this time. So you read into that how you want to. Let's move on over to this card, which represents what you can celebrate at this time of Halloween or of Samhain. We've got the Ace of Cups. The overflowing of a new emotion. And is there something that's come into your life recently that's, made you feel a certain way? Maybe a way that you haven't felt in a long time, or maybe perhaps you haven't felt ever before? Is there something in your life that really, more than usual, is really tingling your emotional senses right now? Right? Instead of spidey senses, we're talking emotional senses. So is there something in your life that makes you really feel alive right now, that's kind of new, that's just kind of entered? And that's something to celebrate, is new emotions, and allowing new emotions to come in, and not just celebrating the thing that's causing the new emotion, but celebrating the emotions themselves, and being grateful for having these emotions, which I'm getting the feeling from this card are generally positive or happy emotions, or emotions of hope and love, and all those great things that make us warm and tingly. All right, so celebrate that. You should hold on to that. You should be very grateful that new energy is coming in, because new energy means a change, and a change means improvement, and improvement means you're on the right path. And you guys are on the right path, and you can tell by your emotions. And the greater you feel emotionally, the closer you are to not like there's a destination, but the closer you are to, let's just say, ascension is the destination, right? So very good. Celebrate your new emotions if you are feeling that, or if it's an old emotion that's maybe come back, same thing. Celebrate it. It's a happy thing, I think. Okay? Alright, this card here represents what to contemplate at this time of Halloween or Samhain, and we've got the Hanged Man. Major Arcana coming up for you guys. 50% Major Arcana. So a lot of things happening in your lives, I get the feeling, and the Hanged Man here is giving me the impression that maybe you should contemplate taking a little vacation. Not a vacation like in the sense of I gotta go to Hawaii, though it could mean that, but in the sense that, like, maybe I should just take a little bit of a break from everything and cool my jets and really figure things out on an energetic, emotional, mental level, rather than just a physical level where you have to leave everything and go to some other country, right? And like I said, it could mean that. It could mean a vacation. could help. But I'm getting the feeling here of more of a, like I said, a spiritual, energetic, emotional, and mental vacation, where you kind of just remove yourself from all the drama, all the happenings in your life, and kind of just focus on you. And maybe, like I said with Sir Nunos, take a more objective, overhead, eagle-eye view of things. Look at things from a vantage point, of a higher vantage point. You can only do that by kind of taking yourself out of the situations and looking at them from above. So that's what this Hangman is suggesting. That's something to contemplate. Contemplate maybe taking a break, which will allow you to kind of see your life in an overall greater context as you remove yourself from your situation and look at things from a higher viewpoint. Okay? So yeah, overall, get the feeling of your happiness here is with your connections. I get a lot of emotion coming from you guys. A lot of emotion. Look at these lovers here. So maybe some of you are in a very fulfilling relationship right now, and I congratulate you on that. You should really show gratitude and celebrate that fact. A lot of emotion, a lot of connectivity and connection here is what I'm getting. But I'm also getting fears of the future a little bit, and possibly the need to kind of take a break coming soon. It doesn't have to happen right now necessarily, but I get the feeling on the horizon it might be something that you should look into and really think about, so that you don't allow these fears to really get the best of you, basically. Alright, so that is the reading, except we have one more thing. We asked the Druid Animal Oracle what message it had for Taurus friends at the time of Halloween or Samhain, and we've got the Otter in reversed. Alright, and the Otter in reversed is sort of like going against the water, is trying to swim upstream, and you're kind of going against the energies of the universe, basically, is kind of the gist I'm getting from this card. And the Otter in reverse kind of suggests that maybe you need to have a little bit more trust in the universal process, that, you know, your spirit, your higher guidance isn't going to let you go off course, and it's important to just allow and give up your desire to control. Like I said, a lot of desire to control in these cards here I'm getting. So the Otter is bringing the message of just trusting the universe. Maybe, like I said, like the Hangman, removing yourself from the driver's seat a little bit, and just trusting in the universe and allowing it to take you where it wants to take you, rather than trying to swim upstream. You know, no, you're not gonna win that battle. You're not gonna move very far. You're gonna get tired. Eventually, you're gonna get exhausted, and then the stream's gonna take you where it wants to go anyway. But now you're just tired and you need a break and you don't have any energy. So rather than do that, rather than fight the river, just allow it to go and go where it wants to go. And yes, you have some control. You can, point yourself in certain directions, but at least you're not fighting what is. At least you're not fighting the movement of energy. And that's very important for you guys at this time of Halloween and Samhain to realize that. Figure out the ways in which you are fighting the energies around you, and just go limp. Right? Go limp, essentially, and just say, okay, that's where we're going. I'll go limp, and I'll work on the present moment, so I make the present moment as beautiful as I possibly can. And that is your power, that is your control. And the river, just trust that the river will take you where you're needing to go, where you're supposed to go. Okay, Taurus friends, so that is the reading for Halloween and Samhain. I hope you got something out of that. Please leave a like if you did. Lets me know that you enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you have any questions or comments, put those in the comment section below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about these readings. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. And I release these videos pretty regularly. You don't want to miss out on that. And if you want a specific reading tailored just for you, where I tap into your energy, then head on over to my Etsy shop. I'll put a link in the description below, and there's a bunch of readings for you to peruse and check out and see if any strike you. So I'd appreciate it if you go check that out. Alright, Taurus friends, a lot of love in your life, but also a lot of fear and anxiety. So we're going to have to balance those out a little bit. And I think the best thing for you is to take maybe like an overhead view and really analyze things the best you can. Okay? So I see things working out well for you guys. There's a lot of love there. So you're doing great, Taurus friends. Alright? So have a happy Halloween or Samhain. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy taroting. Peace.